You know those moments when you feel weak, you stumble, and then somehow that one moment ends up teaching you something absolutely profound? Well, today we're diving into a story that's all about that, about how facing our own limits can actually become our greatest strength. I mean, really think about that question. We spend so much energy trying to look strong, trying to seem flawless, to stay on our feet. But what if the real growth, the most important lessons, what if they happen not in spite of our falls, but because of them? So our story starts on a mountain. Picture this, a young man, he's feeling confident, making his way down a slope. And then it happens. A tiny, seemingly meaningless slip. But that one simple physical mistake, it kicks off this huge internal journey, a chain reaction of insights that's going to change absolutely everything for him. Right, so this stumble isn't just about losing your balance. It's a moment that acts like a mirror being held right up to his face. It forces him to stop and really look at himself, to confront the fact that he actually has limitations. It's reflecting a truth he just couldn't see when he was confidently striding along. And this is such a crucial way to reframe it. The fall isn't treated like a personal failure, not at all. It's a universal reminder. In that one moment of vulnerability, he connects with a fundamental truth about being human, that we are all fragile, we're all mortal. It's the one thing we all have in common. And of course, this brings us to the ego. Now, what's so interesting here is the story doesn't paint the ego as some enemy you have to destroy. Instead, it's presented as a tool. Another one of those mirrors for self-awareness. It's something that needs to be understood and, well, educated, not defeated. The fall allows him to see his ego not as his true self, but just as a reflection he can learn from. So the whole point is this incredible transformation. That one little slip on the mountain becomes the very first step on a journey from pride to humility. And as we're about to see, this internal shift actually starts to change the very world he sees around him. So the next morning, something has fundamentally changed. The world outside starts to reflect his new inner landscape. And this is where the story gets really beautiful. The day before, when he looked out at the lake, the view was crystal clear, totally defined. There was a sharp, certain line separating the water from the sky. It was a world of distinct boundaries, which, let's be honest, was pretty much how he saw himself and everything else. But this morning is completely different. He looks out, and the line is just gone. The water and the sky have merged into the single, seamless expanse of blue. The horizon, that ultimate symbol of separation and limitation, has totally dissolved. His uncle offers him this amazing piece of wisdom. This isn't just a random weather event. It's a lesson. Yesterday, in his pride, he needed to see his own limits as a hard, clear line. But today, after the humbling experience of the fall, he's finally ready for a much deeper truth. And here we get to the absolute core of the idea. The physical world didn't actually change. He changed. His perception expanded. That boundary softened not because of some external force, but because of an internal realization he had about connection and about unity. This is the result of that shift. Looking at that same lake, the feeling is no longer about a separate self, an I observing the world. It's a sense of being part of it, a sense of we, and being held by something even greater. But believe it or not, one crucial piece of the puzzle is still missing. So, just as this new understanding is settling in, his aunt arrives. And she brings with her the one single word that's going to tie all of these experiences together: compassion. They had talked about limits, infinity, eagles, rivers, but this was the key. Compassion is the thing that completely changes our relationship with our own boundaries. And just look at this powerful contrast. When we view our limits without any compassion, they lead straight to despair, that feeling of being trapped and never good enough. But when you look at those exact same limits with compassion, they become a source of dignity. They actually define who we are in a really meaningful way. And here's the part that might just bend your brain a little. Our value doesn't come from being limitless. It comes precisely from having limits. I mean, think about it. If you had endless time or infinite energy, would anything feel precious? Probably not. The boundary is what gives life its worth, its meaning. Okay, so this is all great, but how do we actually live this way? Well, the final lesson is all about integration. It's about fully embracing our fundamental human design, flaws and all. This one idea just turns everything we're taught completely on its head. We're conditioned to see fragility as a flaw, right? Something to hide or overcome. But here, it's presented as a kind of refinement, a sign of sensitivity, of elegance, and a capacity for deeper feeling. So when we stop fighting our own fragile nature and instead just accept it, we create an opening for mercy to come in, both from ourselves and from other people. Because without that acceptance, our ego can become this cruel little tyrant, always demanding an impossible perfection. And this is just the most beautiful, poetic takeaway from the entire journey. We often think that growth comes from being strong and solid and unbreakable. But this story suggests that sometimes the real understanding, the real wisdom, the light, it finds its way in through our broken places, through the cracks in all that armor we build up. And that's the resolution. After the fall, after seeing the horizon dissolve, and after learning this lesson of compassion, the young man finally reaches a place of peace. His vulnerability is no longer something to be ashamed of. It's just a part of his dignified human existence. So, let's end by turning that lens back on ourselves. Think about the limitations you face in your job, in your relationships, in your own abilities. What would happen if you viewed them not with frustration, but with compassion? Where could that one little shift change everything for you?